Hey yo, what up guys? This is Kuroki, and this was just gonna be a quick video, I guess you could say outlining my plans as of right now for the rest of the year, because I've just been quiet slash uploading random videos. So I think I've told a few people what I've been up to, but I'll go ahead and actually throw it out there for everybody now, just to go ahead and get the record straight, because I will return back to somewhat regularly uploading relatively soon-ish. So essentially, the last few months, I've been getting into the roleplay community because I'm not actually sure if there's actually any right now inside of Party Finder, but essentially, on there's none technically advertising right now, but essentially, on Final Fantasy, because of the way housing work, it actually puts you inside of a neighborhood that people can walk around freely and go in, socialize, blah blah blah. And so there is a huge roleplay community, people that hang out. And so I found out that people have bars, lounges, bathhouses, spas, things along those lines that they've opened. There's actually one that actually opened up a horror house recently that I have to go through and check, because somebody I was showing different venues to or whatever had actually really recommended that, so I'm probably gonna go check that out. But normally they have discords as well as the in-game advertisements inside of the Party Finder, which is like this game's version of the trade chat. And so essentially I wanted to go through and take some of the money that I had. Keep in mind, this is what you see on the screen is not all the money that I have. I actually have a character on each world that actually holds money. So I'm actually making this video because today is the day before the housing update happens, where I'm gonna see if between me and Crappy I can go through and I can snatch 4 houses. I can buy 3 of them myself or whatever. And what's the name of it? That's Aleph. I can buy 3 of them myself, and then I think Crappy should be able to buy the 4th one if he can be on in time. But see if I can go ahead and get the 4 houses, because I want to go through and I want to make a complex in game full of different types of buildings, facilities, venues, whatever you want to call them. I want to create a network, so to speak, offering different roleplay services or whatever. I want to go through and get that set up. Obviously, with that being said, there are workers to be hired, there is decorations to be done, there is money calculations that obviously need to be taken care of. And so yeah, I've just been busy actually setting up the Discord for all of that, as well as working through the different systems that I'm gonna have to use, talking to some of the other venue heads, getting their opinions on things, finding the history of the role play. I think I went over to the Crystal server for a bit in order to actually see some of their venues, decorations, things along those lines, just making connections here and there. And so that's technically my primary goal, is just to go through, snatch up the houses tomorrow, and then after that I will be getting back up to 50 plus million again. I was there shortly for a time period, but then something personal came up, had to go through and take care of that. I'll be getting my money back slowly over time, but I don't really care about that or whatever. I'll just go through and I'll just farm back up. That's nothing new to me. But go through, take care of that, get my money back up, and I'll be probably splitting my money in between decorating the houses once I do get them, and then also going through and finishing up my, what's the name of it? I'm finishing up my classes, because right now I'm currently an Omnicrafter full 490, what's the name of it? Full 490 gear on all of my crafters except for my Culinarian. I think I said fuck the weapons on my Culinarian because I never craft anything. Crappy normally handles that market, but everything else is like 490 pentamelted, max CP, and control. And then obviously I need to go through and I need to wrap up all of these fucking classes. So my Warrior, my Dark Knight, finishing up my Scholar. Ninja's probably the last one to get fucking ranked up, to be honest, because I fucking hate Ninja. Bard is gonna get ranked up. Machinist and Dancer. Black Mage I'm probably gonna leave at 70. Summoner's gonna get to 80 just because I'm gonna rank up Scholar most definitely. Red Mage is actually gonna be after Dancer, Red Mage is probably going to be my next one. I'm probably going to rank up Dancer next, and then I'm probably going to go through a live stream getting Red Mage from 71 up to 80. Blue Mage is already at 60. I'll go through and get spells for that later, but main priority is getting the houses. After I get the houses and I'm starting to get my money back up, I'm gonna go ahead and start live streaming more content of the different power sets. So like you'll see me tanking, healing, DPSing, range, melee, etc. On different days. that'll be the first thing, is to go through and to try to scrap up the rest of these classes. Along with that, I'm also going to go through and make a crafting guide, going through and detailing how to use all of the different abilities, I guess you could say, in terms of how the actual crafting process actually fucking works. So like just the different abilities that people end up using, when do you use certain moves and why, and how they interact with each other, things along those lines. Like there are a whole bunch of different I don't want to say rotations, but there are a whole bunch of fucking different trade-offs that you need to have in mind whenever you do crafting, if you don't want to just be completely reliant on macros. Because the bad thing about macros inside of the game is, like, obviously you can go through and you can create macros or whatever that can go through and that can craft for you. I even have some as well. But even whenever you go through and you have the macros, as soon as your stats change slightly, whether it's you don't have as much CP or you end up increasing craftsmanship or increasing in control, it ends up, or decreasing inside of control, it changes your rotation, and so you always have to go back and constantly update said macro. So if you're relying on a friend or if you're relying on a site, it gets fucking annoying. It's better just to understand the system as a whole in and of itself, so therefore you can go through and you can just update the macro on the fly as you need it. And it also allows you to help other people like what I do, because you can just look at their screen or just hear how much CP they have left or how close they are to the craft, and you can tell them what moves to change inside of their rotation. But I'm going to be having a from scratch crafting tutorial. It's probably going to be decent in length because I haven't seen anybody on YouTube actually give a really good one. So I'm going to go through and go ahead and throw that up there just so I can link my friends and or other people for future reference. So crafting guide is going to get done. Once I get all of my classes up to 80, by the time that happens, I theoretically should have passed DC for hours played, because I think DC I had like 3,900 hours played, and on this game I think I am around I believe I'm around 3,700. Let me just go through and let me just update the UI size just so you guys can go through and see this. Just so I can just do the P time command and just to throw it over the grass. It's 154 days, 12 hours and 30 minutes, which is calculator 154 times 24 is 3696 plus another 12 hours. Yeah, I'm at 3,708 hours so far. So I'm like 200 and some change hours off of breaking my total playtime compared to DC, and I still have like another month or two, I think, before that cutoff happens. So I'm definitely gonna manage to put in more hours inside of this game in my first year than what I did after DC after several years. So that just tells you how busy I've fucking been. But besides that, also went through and actually got my fucking retainers up. Let me head over here. Yeah, my retainers are now all finally at 80, so that's officially done. I have 10 retainers. I am bucking out like $35 a month right now just to keep my in-game account maxed out. So this I finally got fucking done. This I was working on for a minute, but now this is netting me like a free million every fucking day just off of running retainer missions. But there's that. I'm trying to think. There's the, oh yeah, whenever I go through and I actually open up my Aether venue complex thing, that's gonna be uploaded to YouTube also, therefore you guys can see all the decorations. But then after I finish everything, two major things will be happening after the things I previously mentioned, and that's going to be, one, I'm going to return back to three big things. One, I'm going to return back to the battle system for the DPSs, going through and explaining the different power sets, going up like level 1 through 80, and explaining how the rotations change and how the power set or the combat job evolves over time. I'm going to be going through and doing that, giving my opinion on each of them once I have all of them up to 80, obviously. And then that's the first big thing. Second big thing is Mrs. Polka and Mr. Polka have switched over to Jenova, and Crappy is over on Jenova too. So we're probably going to be doing, I think it was Bahamut Ultimate or whatever, what's the name of it, whatever the name of that instance is or whatever. We're going to be doing one of the ultimate instances, which is one of the hardest instances in the game, difficulty wise, but we're starting off with the easiest one, obviously. So going to be doing progression on that. As far as I'm aware, for those that do not know, essentially ultimate level difficulty is like an SM round length fight, like you're talking like a 15-20 minute fight, but it's flooded with mechanics and not just like the same 4 mechanics over and over again like what it is on DC. So normally whenever it comes to actually memorizing those fights, a lot of times they have mechanics where if one person fucks up, it'll actually wipe the group. So with situations like that, normally groups do what is called progressing and gradually get closer and closer to actually finishing the fight, since there's no checkpoints before. So basically you have to go like those 15-20 minutes flawless basically. So that'll be a live stream / video whenever I start working on that with the polkas. And then the last big thing will be a huge series that's probably going to be uploaded like mid to late December, and that's going to be a how can I put this? That's going to be a huge series, I guess you could say, going through and detailing all of the different systems and parts of this game relative to DC that are how can I put this, for lack of better terms, like the differences / what makes each of them better. Because there's very, very few things that I can think of that DC technically does better, but it's their trade-offs. So it's like DC has the positive benefit of doing this that is mechanically impossible to do inside of Final Fantasy because of so and so reasons, but the reason so and so reasons exist is because it has so and so other benefits that are actually really, really good in and of themselves. And so I'm going to be trying to go through and compare both of them in that type of light in terms of doing the trade-offs, because a lot of things are not I guess you could say they're not going to be known until you end up reaching later on inside of the game's history. And also for those that don't know, I've technically had my Saint of the Firmament title, which is technically one of the rarer titles in order to get, because you have to place inside of the top 10 for the leaderboards for Ishgard Restoration. So I finally got that. And what's the name of it? Probably actually going to go for the Pterodactyl later. I'm probably won't actually get the Pterodactyl mount until the beginning of next year. Essentially that'll be like the rarest mount in the game as far as I'm aware, because the grind is just so fucking ridiculous. But also there's a lot of people that won't even go for it. A lot of people on fucking JP or whatever had to what's the name of it, they had it because JP is just fucking crazy like that. And but yeah, there's the ranking up the combat classes 1 through 80, telling about how they progress, progressing inside of Ultimate, and I'm probably gonna also upload Savage fights too or whatever. I gotta go through and I gotta do Eden Savages once I finish up wrapping up business stuff. Do the Eden Savages. I'm fucking bugging. Do the Eden Savages, do the big ass comparison video from DC, and then working toward the beginning of next year, that will be the Pterodactyl mount for Ishgard Restoration, because I want to go through and I want to have one of the rarest titles and I want to have one of the rarest mounts inside of the game, saying basically I'm a fucking low life that I can grind the hell out of shit. But gotta get that. And then the next thing is I'm probably gonna go through and I'm probably gonna actually try to seriously rank up on the Japanese server sometime next year or whatever. I don't think I'm gonna have enough time in order to actually start. I have a tune that's already in like the level 20s on JP, but I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna return back to that and I'm gonna pick back up, because I do want to have a character on Tonberry for whenever Ishgard Restoration comes out, because I want to see what that shit is like. I want to see how flooded that goddamn server is, because like they have the nickname of the server that never sleeps. So like I really want to see one, how that economy works just from an educational standpoint, but then also I want to go through and see like, how can I put this? I also want to see the different strategies in terms of running content, because Japanese players are in general a lot more cautious than what North American players are. So I want to go through and do that, because even leveling up inside of the fucking like mid 20s out of like the 2-3 dungeons that I had ran, they had tanked the bosses in different spots / avoided mechanics differently than like every group that I ran on NA. Like obviously I fucking ran the dungeons 30-40 plus times each on fucking NA, and as soon as I go over to JP, the very first run, it's being tanked different. It's just like that just shows a drastically different mentality, drastically different approach to things. So I want to go through and I want to hit that up or whatever. So expect a lot of Japanese server stuff coming next year. I mean, if I get quote unquote permission or whatever, or it's okay, I might go through and actually start showing more concert footage in terms of the bar performances and different venues or whatever, openings, things along those lines or whatever. I'll see if I can find a way to censor my chat so that for people keep their privacy and certain things that may accidentally slip into the chat. But assuming that's okay, I'm gonna have to go through and fucking ask around at different places, because different places have different policies or whatever in regards to live streaming and stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to show the shit that I've been doing, is because I've just been erring on the fucking side of caution, because it wasn't that important to show everybody. But yeah, I'm going through and working on all of that. So that's just the roadmap for the rest of this year going into next year. And any updates / changes to that, I'll probably make another video and go ahead and do that. But yeah, that's the plan for right now. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video before this gets way too long.